that I think really draws a lot of people to the fire department, and then also retains them and keeps them with the fire department for a long time, and that's the camaraderie. The esprit de corps, the friendships that you develop in the organization. You don't walk away from those friendships lightly. And when you join the volunteer fire department, the camaraderie really keeps you in the organization for a long time as well. There's also a sense of preparedness. When there's an emergency that happens in the county, fire, flood, earthquake, tornado, whatever it is, the volunteer fire department is going to be there, and we're going to respond to it. But our firefighters are going to be, well trained, capable, and competent, and be ready for whatever they face. And you'll probably notice a lot of similarities between some of those non-tangible benefits as in the fire service as well as in the military. And I'd like to hear what General has to say about that.
I think it's the tangible benefits that sometimes get you in the door. I mean, I joined the Guard a long time ago, in September of 1987, because I needed to pay for college. But soon to be 35 years later, it's not what kept me in. And so although a tangible benefit might help at the time, it's not why a firefighter is answering the phone or open the page at 3 a.m. when it's 20 below and there's a car wreck. There ain't near enough money to pay for that. It's not why a guardsman, leaves his family for a year to deploy. Mm-hmm. It's just not there. So although those tangible benefits are important and may get you in the door, it's not why you serve, and it's not why you continue to do it. There's something beyond that. When we were downstairs, we went to the chief's training meeting and talking to some of the leaders. One of his leaders said, "Hey, I've served for 23 years," and I said, "Why are you still here?" He said, I don't know. I don't really know, other than it's just community service. And so that's probably the best way to put it. You wouldn't know this guy's probably one of the guys who cares most about his community. He just does it because it gives him purpose. And so that's really what, as I talked about education, first responders, volunteer firemen. I tell you, they serve in their community, and you don't even know who they are. Like the chief said, when you call 911, it's the worst day of your life. This guy or gal, they're going to be there. And so it's a pretty neat organization, and I would encourage any guardsman, if you have a desire to do that, go to your local volunteer fire department, talk to the fire chief, and I tell you, check it out, because I tell you that he was just a great example of satisfaction and community service.
Everything that you're both saying is so overlapping, from when you talk to military folks, and it sounds so similar. The purpose, why do I serve? I want to help my community. It makes sense. If you want to volunteer, you want to help your community. If you're already serving, join the fire department, and vice versa. So I think it makes complete sense. It sounds like recruiting for the fire department, it's not just an issue here in Sublette County. Is it across the whole state?
Yeah, absolutely. When I speak to fire chiefs, across the state, there's without fail, every chief in the state is struggling and trying to find volunteers and trying to keep the volunteers in the organization. It's ubiquitous that the Wyoming Fire Service is struggling to recruit and maintain volunteers, and it's what drives the organization. It's the heartblood of the organization. When we have fire stations and we have fire trucks and gears and equipment and everything down there that is necessary to bring to an emergency, but none of it's of any value whatsoever without the volunteer firefighters to staff the trucks and respond to the emergencies and resolve the emergencies. And so it's absolutely the most critical challenge that I face, far and above anything else that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's the most pressing matters in my day-to-day operation, and everything that I do is focused on recruitment and retention. And I'm certainly not unique. There's fire chiefs across the entire state that are struggling with the same issues that I am, and they absolutely would love the opportunity to hear from somebody that's interested in joining the fire department. So yeah, I encourage everybody that is listening that please reach out to your local volunteer fire department, and initiate that conversation. We try pretty hard to be visible, and we certainly aren't hard to find. So please reach out and get involved and help out your community.
So on that, speaking more about recruiting options, General Alkire, can you talk a little bit about the red card enlistment option?
Sure. So, red cards, the chief can talk about it better, but it's a wildland firefighting certification. Mm-hmm. And so we do that at Camp Guernsey. Camp Guernsey is our training area up there between Wheatland and Torrington. And so it's an initiative that we are doing as part of this partnership. And so it's our tentative date is this January. We're going to hold a first responder symposium. Initially it was the first idea that when we met with the chief, but in discussions with some sheriffs, highway patrol, and other first responders, they want to be part of it. And so that's the first thing we're going to do is have that symposium. As part of that symposium, we're going to offer to soldiers the opportunity. They'll go through red card training, and we can do that at Camp Guernsey. It'll be held at Guernsey, and then really we'll have the fire chiefs come in and then explain. So now you have your red card. Now here's what we can do, and some next steps. Here's a potential career path for you and some opportunities. So I think it's an example of what this partnership can do. Chief, want to comment on that? And how close am I to being wrong?
You're spot on. When we do every year we do a recruit academy, and when the reason why we do it is we try to make sure that all of our volunteer firefighters are, they have a common operating picture in mind. They have a standardized training program, and the end result is proficiency in how we provide service. When we do our recruit academy, there's a significant amount of time that we spend on wildland firefighting, and it's the exact same training. It's national training. It's standardized. It's offered by the National Wildland Coordinating Group, and it's a red card. It's actually an issued card that lists your credentials, your qualifications to perform when you're on an incident. And for our entry level firefighters, it's FFT2. The program is called S130 and S190 and L180. It's a combined course that we offer, and it's the introductory course on how to be safe on a wildland fire, and how to be part of the incident command structure, and what your expectations would be to perform assignments, and then how to work within that structure. It's the exact same training whether you go work for the Forest Service or the BLM or local volunteer fire department or with the military. And one thing, I can't speak for all chiefs in the state by any means, but I know locally, if we had a member from the Guard that came and joined our fire department, we would look very highly on them if they've already had that training, and we certainly wouldn't make them do it again. They'd be one step ahead, and rather than going through the training again, though, what I have done in the past is encouraged new recruits to be part of the training program and help teach the rest of the recruits when they come on board. But absolutely, it's a big part of our standard training program, and I'm excited to hear that there's an opportunity for us to work together and offer that training and mutually benefit.
Is there other opportunities or other areas that you both haven't talked about yet that you think that we could help each other with?
I think more informally, and let me give you an example. An hour ago, talking to the chief's command staff, and I just asked the question. I said, so if you've got folks that, perhaps choose not to participate anymore, 6-7 months, what do you do? Because sometimes we have the same problem in the Guard. It's, being in the Guard is a values-based proposition, so we need to add value to their lives, or else why come to drill? And so it's a problem that we've got in the Guard that we're going to get it right. And so, we're able to share ideas, and one of his, captains said, hey, I recommend this book, and this is what I'm doing. And he's a former Guard guy from North Dakota. And I tell you, it's an idea that we're we're going to take back and look at. So right now, the initiative that we have right now is the First Responder Symposium. We're going to get together at the Rural Fire Chiefs meeting in December. But I think informally sharing those ideas will add tremendous value. And so a partnership, is built over a period of time. And so right now I think it's a little premature to figure out what the next step is formally. But I tell you informally, just that one idea, I tell you, it has caused me to think, now how do we talk to a soldier who perhaps chooses to go do something else? Because there's a reason that soldier joined the Guard, and there's something happening in that soldier's life that he chooses not to come to drill. We just got to figure out what that is and help him out.
One thing I heard earlier in the meeting too was, what level of engagement does the Guard have with local communities, and I think in my own mind at that time, what I was thinking is, well, that the members that make up the National Guard are really from the communities. They're the members that are in the communities, and it's an excellent opportunity is for us to have volunteer firefighters that are members of the National Guard. But one of the things that does is it gives us a working relationship to start from, a strong partnership to start from. If I need something, I've got people within my organization that I can reach out to and help serve as liaison for me, and facilitate communications. And they're part of my organization. They're part of the community, and they're part of the Guard. And I think building on those relationships, to the General Alkire's point, is maybe more of an informal benefit, but it's something that I want to continue to try to promote and enhance within our own organization, because I see significant amount of potential in the future that next time we have a major incident or incident of significance, that we're all going to be part of the same team working to find a solution.
This is why one of the reasons we're creating this partnership. Mm-hmm. And I kind of talked about it in the meeting today. Readiness starts with strength. Mm-hmm. And so, right now we're kind of having a tough time in the military assessing people into the National Guard. And so typically we've always gone we've got great soldiers coming out of high school. I mean, they're great soldiers. But there's we're kind of having a tough time assessing that high school age group. The demographic that we really haven't really touched on was age 23 to 32. And so, using the volunteer firefighters, the community colleges, maybe that demographic where, because when I was in high school, I was going to leave town and I'm never coming back. Well, then you go figure out what life looks like in college, and you determine that maybe home wasn't really that bad. And so you move home, you get married, you've got some kids, you got a good job, but maybe you still want to have the ability to serve. So that little more mature demographic, we're trying to touch on that too. While maintaining this demographic in high school, we're just trying to, another avenue, educate those who are maybe a little more older in their later 20s. I mean, I was 22 when I joined. Mm-hmm. Let them know that, hey, there's still an opportunity in the Guard to serve, because readiness starts with strength. And so this is one way to broaden the aperture of folks that we want to talk about the National Guard with, because it's a great topic and I could talk about it all day. So that's really one of the benefits of this type of a partnership.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you this because we keep talking about it, but I don't think we've asked you. So Chief Cooper, why do you serve?
Oh, I think I've answered it, and in talking about what the recruits do when they join the volunteer fire department. It's very universal. It's no different for me than it was for anybody else. I joined the volunteer fire department when I was 19 years old, and I knew several of the volunteers that were already on the department, and they had been talking to me about it and telling me about why they enjoyed it, and they encouraged me to do it. So that was certainly part of why I joined. But another reason why is I had a home, and I had a chimney fire, and the volunteer fire department responded, and they took care of my home. They really went above and beyond. They laid down tarps on the carpet to make sure not to track mud into my house, and they just exceeded my wildest expectations in providing customer